I'm not Sean Evans. I have a half head of hair. Sometimes when you shave half of your head, you kind of forget it's there. Well, welcome everybody. If you guys don't know, Hot Ones is the celebrity interview show where, the interviewees, thanks, I don't know how this works, where the interviewees answer questions while consuming hotter and hotter wings. And I mentioned Sean Evans because he is the host of that show. Right, I have these. So what we're gonna do before we dive in, Luz did a great job introducing us already, but we're just gonna do a quick intro about ourselves, what we do, and how confident we are in our spice tolerance. So, so I will go first. I'm Emma. As Luz said, campaigns agencies reporter. Anything and everything that has to do with agencies, that's all me. I am, if you couldn't tell by now, very white. So I don't know how I'm gonna fare with my spice tolerance. So white that my mother used to call me Casper, like Casper the Friendly Ghost. Shout out to my mom. But yeah, we'll go down the line. So start off.
Hi, everyone. My name's Amanda Dyke. I oversee marketing communications for Havas Media Network North America. I've been in brand building for almost 2 decades now. I'm excited about this. Our first question to Emma when she asked us to do this is, would you be eating the wings with us? And she said yes, and we said, okay, we're game. How confident am I? Overly confident? Honestly, I'm nervous about my confidence level. I think I need to taper it down a little bit, and smelling this is really helping me humble that confidence. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, I'm co-founder and CCO of Highdive Advertising in Chicago. Go Chicago, who's here from Chicago. Originally from New Jersey, though, so shout out to New Jersey over there. I started my career on the East Coast at Chi Day in RGA. Wife dragged me out to the Midwest, where I was at DDB for a long time, probably 21 years. In 2016, I broke off and started Highdive, and we're about 130 people now, and so our larger clients are Jeep, BetMGM, State Farm, Lay's, and all sorts of stuff like that. I'm somewhat confident. I ran Hot Ones contest at the agency about 2 weeks ago, and I was the moderator, and so I ate it along with them, so I'm somewhat confident here. As you probably watch me barf this bucket. they have buckets for us under the table.
Buckets.
I think the buckets need to be deeper. They're a little shallow.
Depending on what we ate for breakfast.
A little frightened. Hi, I'm Tristen Norman. I lead creative for the Americas at Getty Images. I'm a marketer and a strategist by trade. I came from the agency world right before this. I'm a researcher. I love storytelling. I love helping brands make smarter and more thoughtful decisions about visuals. And I love hot and spicy things. So I'm Jamaican ancestrally, so not very white.
You got an advantage.
So I'm not overly confident, though. I wore glasses so that I don't touch my face. I'm really scared about that. But I'm super excited about it. I feel like I'm middle of the road in terms of confidence, because I don't know what's going to happen.
Oh my God. So smelling the wings, looking at the hot sauces, you can see them lined up over here. From your left to your right, it's mildest to most spicy. What's kind of going through your mind right now in terms of we're about to eat these wings?
First of all, the coloring is really interesting, and I would think that this is actually a little bit more spicy because it's much more red. But yeah, it's interesting smells.
I mean, I'm hungry, so I
Same.
could just take a bite. I'd probably eat a whole one.
Oh my God. But so before we really get into it, I'm going to be a bit boring for a half second and just do a quick vocab lesson, because I'm going to be referencing the words capsaicin and Scoville frequently throughout the panel. Capsaicin is what gives peppers and chilies and the like the spice flavor. And Scoville is the unit of measurement that measures the pungency of peppers and chilies based on their capsaicin content. So to give you guys an idea of what we're getting ourselves into, a bell pepper is measured at 0 Scoville heat units, and your average bottle of Tabasco sauce is 3,750. But who's ready to see us eat some wings?
Woo!
I'm so excited.
Some terrified faces.
Oh my God. All right, so the first sauce we're gonna get into, it's Hot Ones Pickled Garlic Sriracha. It's at 18,000 Scoville. So we'll take a bite now.
Oh, God.
Left, right, yeah.
Yep.
Why are they cold?
It's generous in the vinegar.
Yeah.
It's nice. I could take another bite, quite honestly.
You're more than welcome to. No one's stopping you.
I don't want to get too overly confident. I already told you about it.
All right.
That one wasn't that bad.
No.
It wasn't bad.
He ate,
It's pretty good.
he ate the whole wing.
No.
No, you wait a
Couple bites.
All right, so Amanda, before I ask your question, I'm going to go on a little bit of a nerd rant.
Okay.
I'm bringing, sorry, there's like food stuck in my teeth already. Great job.
It's a part of the love of this art.
I know. So the question I'm asking here is going to be referencing a recent partnership that Havas Play did with the video game company Blizzard Entertainment, specifically with one of the games, World of Warcraft. And I have to say, I grew up playing video games. I played them for decades. My family plays video games. We're just a bunch of nerds. World of Warcraft is actually one of our favorite video games ever.
Really?
Yeah. I've played it for about 10 years.
Did you play the new Midnight expansion?
I haven't played the pre-patch yet.
Okay.
The expansion comes out on the 2nd.
Almost, yes.
I will definitely be.
You need to get a preview, though.
Oh, exactly.
We can make that happen.
So, and oh my God, I'm so silly. I forgot to mention this. There's a question I want all of you to keep in mind as I ask you your own questions. So I'm going to ask about killed ideas. So what about these killed ideas stood out to you, and how have your ideas since then pushed the boundaries of risk? So just keep that in mind and answer that along with the question I ask you.
Okay.
So Amanda, Havas Play, as I mentioned, worked with Blizzard Entertainment for, you mentioned it was the finals before Super Bowl LX?
Yep. There was a few activations that were included there.
Basically, the World of Warcraft is promoting player housing, which is a feature in the game that people have been asking for since the game came out in 2004. So this has been a long time coming. And so to promote this, an in-game style tavern was built outside of, I believe it was one of the stadiums in Foxborough.
Gillette Stadium, yeah.
Gillette Stadium, Foxborough, Massachusetts. It was the first time Blizzard used a pro sports event of this caliber to promote any of its franchises. So my question for you is, have these unlikely pairings, like video games and sports, have they led to any like past killed off ideas?
I mean, this one is one of my most favorite examples from the team. Do we have any gamers in the audience? We have one. Okay, so we have two. I think my data shows we have about 15. Listen, it's an extraordinary example about how you take two audiences and tell a story. And I loved the example we had earlier, which is phygital. You're taking a digital asset and making it physical to tell the story of your brand, to bring reverence to the idea of these two different audiences, right? You think of live sports fans and gamers, and there's a beautiful sort of intersection or Venn diagram or data that suggests that's a really good idea for us as a brand to capitalize on that. But the real skill comes in the cultural fluency. You can't pair two things, or I like to call them contrast collabs sometimes, and expect that the data that you're looking at is the only indicator of your success. You need to have cultural fluency, and what that looks like is sometimes that the data is not delivering that to you. It's a team of experts that truly understand the nuance of that audience, the nicheness of it, and how a brand could really show up and drive value for both of those audiences. So that example is so good. It's a proud moment for our Havas Play team and Blizzard, of course, as a whole. But there's a warning to marketers when you're trying to do contrast collabs, right? You see these done really well in music, right? You take a country artist and you take a hip hop artist and they build something really beautiful. It's different when you try to do brand storytelling, right? And you think of a brilliant idea to bring two audiences together. If you don't really understand the cultural nuance, you risk polarizing both of those audiences. And instead of being bold, you sort of, ruin a bit of your brand reputation, and you can't get it back quickly, right? Like they're so active and they're so engaged in those communities. So I've seen a lot of those on the cutting room floor, and I've come up with a lot of them myself. And then, once you sort of follow through the steps, you get the right people at the table, you get the right cultural influence, you go, that's not a really great idea.
Well, how would you be able to convince these doubters?
I mean, I think you have to bring the right folks in the room that speak, specific to that nuance. If you're talking about gamers, right? There's so many different types of gamers also. The culture is deep. It's rooted in community. It's rooted in tone. It's rooted in language. And if you don't have the right people at the table that understand that, you risk coming off quite tone deaf, right? And sort of, someone mentioned earlier, slapping your logo. It doesn't look great. I think when we see a good idea that resonates, you have to test it and you have to bring the right people. This is where humans come into play, right? Data will inform a great Venn diagram and statistical information that says this is going to make money. It's going to give us a growth audience. But humans in the room are going to say, you missed that. It doesn't make sense for this person for this reason.
Mark, we'll go to you next. So from your time at DDB Chicago, one of the campaigns you were most well known in working for is Anheuser-Busch's Real Men of Genius, which was a satirical radio campaign which were tributes to men and their quirks, followed by over-the-top vocals by Dave Bickler, who was the lead singer in the band Survivor. I'm curious if there were any rejected ideas from that campaign.
Yes and no. I mean, I think the client really was willing to take a risk. There was actually a funny story once. They wanted us to push the boundaries a little bit at one point. We recorded so many. I think we did 250 total over the years that the campaign ran. But a little bit into the campaign, maybe 2 years, they wanted to mix things up, and they said, why don't you do some racier ones that we maybe can't air on the radio stations? And so we did some fun things like a produce putter-outer, and we had a lot of innuendos about fruit and things like that. Mr. Cavity Search guy. And it was a true story. We recorded them all, and because they were just going to, randomly use them inside the agency, they trafficked them accidentally to the station. A couple of them went out. So someone found out, and they're like, oh, my God, take those off the air. But I don't remember any that really died. We did another one about a discount airline pilot guy, and one of the airlines, I think it was Spirit at the time, was very offended and wrote Anheuser-Busch a letter and demanded that they take this spot off the air or they were going to stop serving their alcoholic drinks on their plane. And they smoothed the whole thing over and it all worked out. But yeah, not any that were really killed because they really wanted to push the boundaries of the campaign, which is why we had so much fun with it and why it had won so many awards. So yeah,
I love those stories. Even if I just love the risk taking with that one, because if there's no rejected ideas, that means you kind of went all out, and that's great, I think.
Yeah, and that's mutual trust. It's just a great client that we have mutual trust, and they're willing to do something that pushes. And Anheuser-Busch, I think at the time, really, and this is great clients in general, just appreciated great work as much as we did. They wanted the fame, especially when Super Bowl came around. Like, they wanted to pick up the newspaper the next day and be number one in ad meter. So getting those clients are the best, the ones that take risks. And if they don't, it's our job, to have the clients that are a little bit on the fence to take those risks and become the clients that, because it's riskier to do, I think, safe work than it is to do interesting work, because you just wind up in the middle of the road and doing work that, listen, most 80% of advertising stinks, and we have to be better than that. So,
Tristen, my question for you is a little bit more broad. So based on when I was researching about your work and everything, based on what I've read, you seem to be very intentional with your work. You've been referred to as a frustrated creative. You called yourself a resident troublemaker. And at one point,
God.
I mean, no offense, it's just
Things live on the internet forever.
yeah, they do. And at one point, or at some point throughout your time working for Getty, you've basically kind of stopped asking for permission. And so I'm curious if that last tendency has forced resurrections of any killed ideas.
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, I think one, I didn't refer to myself as a frustrated creative. Someone else referred to me as that, but you know,
You've been referred to.
lovingly or not so lovingly. Anyway, I think in terms of ideas that have been resurrected, I mean, if you work in this space, the darlings are just gonna get murdered on the floor. Like you really have to make a lot of choices when it comes. I mean, there's so many constraints that you encounter as a project comes to life, right? That make things impossible to get off the ground. But what it's taught me is, how to turn nothing into something, I think, and to really help brands to push and see the vision for something different. I think, for example, we've been having a lot of conversations within the financial services space, and that is an industry that is historically kind of incredibly risk averse when it comes to storytelling. And one of the things that has been really exciting is like, how do I change their minds, and how do I help shake the table? And I think it goes back to some of the things that you were talking about earlier, Amanda, is just like bringing the right people into the room and then telling the right story. Data is only going to get you so far, right? But if we're inspiring with new ideas and new ways to think about classic things, I think I found that to be really compelling. So for example, with wealth management storytelling, you often see, a private jet, someone in a golf cart, someone, someone doing something incredibly ick and cringe and boring. And one of the things we were trying to do is to help one client kind of think differently about what other stories can be told. How do we bring, especially in light of the fact that we're all from all sorts of backgrounds, we're kind of experiencing the same social media, the same internet, and thus our aesthetics are kind of becoming really collapsed into one in a weird way, or into these like fragmented little niches that again have all these different sub communities within it from different backgrounds. So when you're the classic principles of marketing around reaching one segment with one message is actually going out the window, right? So how do we tell stories that feel unique to them? I've been excited about being able to bring back some of these ideas where we can tell them these different stories. For example, like how do we make it more alive? How do we bring that storytelling and make it more lived in, like people want to be a part of it? How do we inspire FOMO? So I think I don't think that there's ever a no when it comes to this work. We're going to get to a yes eventually. And it's just about how you tell those different and unique stories to get them on your side.
All right, so we will move on to the next wing. The hot sauce is Hot Ones Los Calientes Verde, which is 36,000 Scoville.
No.
That was a big jump from the first. Did you feel that?
It escalated very quickly.
That almost had no hot sauce on it. This is where it starts, I think.
Even though
It's like waves, It's just, it's coming in waves.
I think us being over lunch is helping a little bit in the digestion.
Maybe, yeah. All right, so Amanda, from what I've researched about your work, you have a lot of world first projects under your belt, especially during your time with Publicis. For example, in 2020, you worked with Verizon to launch their first 5G portal. In 2016, when AI was still considered science fiction, you worked with CoverGirls with their first influencer chatbot marketing campaign. Are there any other world first ideas that you tried to bring to light that had to be set aside?
I'm going to embarrass someone in the audience because I love her so much, but she is my ex-Verizon client. And her and I, built a lot of first for the Verizon brand, including 5G. And she would, we were skillful together in all of our thinking and how we might activate, but she's seen a lot of my ideas and I've seen a lot of hers as well, and that's why we have such a great partnership. The question specifically about the work, though, I think, when you're trying to do something really unique for a brand, it has to start with what you're trying to deliver to the audience, right? You have to be really true to that. Like that's the one grounding piece. We just have to remind ourselves. We get in these rooms and I have, we call them our babies, the ideas that we have, and you get to the final meeting and you're like, this is just gonna land. And sometimes it doesn't. And in the instance where you're doing sort of a world first, the objective is never that first, right? The objective is, how do I align a consumer behavior to an insight that improves the value of an audience, right? Improves the value of an audience to us, improves the value of their well-being for the brand or how they shop, et cetera, et cetera. The interesting one that you mentioned that kind of made me giggle, and it's funny to take a look at it now in 2026. When I was working on a CPG brand, it was a beauty brand. What is this, going back maybe 8 years? We had thought, in infancy of influencer marketing or creative marketing, we said, how do we re-envision the brand promise in application of these beauty products? Like, what does that look like? People don't want to talk to our CRM people. They don't want to respond to, you remember those old chatbots that were really they were not large language models at all. So we designed a synthetic personality in the form of a real individual. And at the time, you can look at it, it's called the Kalani chatbot. It's crazy because you didn't have engineering back then. We were literally doing an if this, then that to design a synthetic personality. And at that time, it was incredible the way that the consumers engaged with it. Young girls were, engaging with the products differently. It was a massive success. But where it didn't land and where it flopped is that it was hard to scale. And I laugh at that now because I go, oh my gosh, we did that in an Excel sheet. And now you look at what we have in terms of AI, we need to go back there. I need to pull some of those things that fell off the boardroom floor and bring them back. I could really do them now.
Mark, in 2020, Highdive and Stellantis released a Super Bowl ad for Jeep. And since it landed on Groundhog Day, it was based off the 1993 movie Groundhog Day. And it's so far actor Bill Murray's first and last commercial he was in. I remember covering this, and I spoke with the CMO of Stellantis and how Bill Murray, both the star of the movie and the spot, he is notoriously hard to get in contact with. So it was still up in the air whether this idea would come to be at all. So what would you have done if that original Groundhog Day idea didn't work?
Oh, man. I don't know. We had other. We show so many spots to clients when we have big presentations like that for Super Bowl. So we're you talk about ideas that die. We're so used to, and you mentioned this. We see it almost as a minefield. There's whether it's IP or a client doesn't want to take a risk, or the lawyers say you can't do something, or they go with another agency, and so. You build up an immunity to dead ideas. And, it's almost like Hollywood when they say, if you're an actor, you get rejected so many times. So we're used to it. We have we have 7 values at Highdive. One of them is we always find another way, and we would have found another way. It would have been very disappointing had we not. But the CMO, Olivier had a contact, I think. He reached out and they got in touch with Bill, and it was so funny because all of a sudden my business partner, Chad, had a call with him. Randomly, his phone rings and it's Bill Murray, and he's on the golf course, and wind was blowing and he couldn't understand him. And, he called me after and he's like, I just got off the phone with Bill Murray. And I couldn't understand anything he was saying. It was on the golf course, and it happened. And Bill, he's just so committed, like everyone says. When he wants to do something, he's all in. And he called Monday. He called Chad back. He's like, "We doing this or not?" And because Chad's like, "It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen." And he was all in, and really great to work with, and as kooky as you can imagine on set. But we would have. we certainly wouldn't have gone with Groundhog Day. You know, it had to have Bill Murray, that idea. Funny fact about that spot, we shot that the Saturday and Sunday before Super Bowl weekend. And literally, the editor came to the shoot. It was where in New York again? Woodstock. And we would take the film, and he was editing it in his hotel room on a laptop at night. He'd edit Monday, edit Tuesday, and we delivered. Yes, we delivered that spot. So it was a great experience. But again, we'd find another way. We've had so many times. You know, we worked with Jason Momoa for Rocket one year, and he was going to do it, and then Lisa Bonet talked him out of it, and so he pulled out of the contract, and so we're like scrambling, you know, at 3 a.m. to try to get them to sign on. And I got yelled at, by the way, by Lisa Bonet on set, which was pretty fun. And we made it work. You know, everyone, ourselves and lawyers and the client. It was Casey Herbis at the time who spoke today. He was at Rocket and put our nose to the grindstone and just made it happen and changed the deal. And eventually, we all convinced him to do it, and he did it. So. Yeah.
Based on what you were saying about Bill, it just makes him seem like an enigma or something like that.
Yeah, and then we asked him to film a video for us for like our holiday party, and we didn't think it was going to happen. We didn't get an answer back, and all of a sudden we get this video of him in the middle of a storm in North Carolina, because I think he lives in North Carolina, with like he's in a poncho, mumbling stuff about whatever, and I don't know if we still have that at the agency. And it was a hurricane, and he was a high dive, like typical Bill Murray. We're like, we don't know what he's saying, but we got a video from Bill Murray, so it was great. Yeah, he was great.
Pretty much an enigma. Tristen, so Getty Images has come out with various collections. You and your team have overseen those, such as Nosotros, which showcases the rarely told narratives of Hispanic Latino communities, and the Rural U.S. collection, which showcases rarely told narratives, the unseen sides of rural areas throughout the U.S. What other Getty collections, or even non-Getty collections, do you want to see come to life?
Oh, so many. I've loved the work that we've done over the last few years. I mean, it wasn't just, I mean, you know, the Latina community, Black community, Asian Americans, as well as, and Pacific Islanders, as well as people with disabilities. And like, there's just so many stories. You know, advertising has played a huge role in holding ideas around certain communities that have been incredibly harmful, that can be incredibly stereotypical. And so, you know, we took our responsibility really seriously in terms of providing the inputs to tell different and new and more layered and thoughtful stories. And I feel like we're only just scratching the surface. Like, I think there's so many different dimensions, even on top of like these identities. For example, with rural communities, we can talk about rural LGBTQIA plus Americans who have vastly different experiences than people who are queer and live in sort of more urban metropolises. Or when we talk about disabilities, there's there are going to be differences between chronic illnesses and neurodivergence, or, people who have different types of physical disabilities or learning disabilities and so on. And there's just like so many stories to tell because, I think this industry that I've been a part of for the last 15 years has done a lot better. We've seen this sort of transformation away from sort of aspirational advertising into sort of advertising that's a little bit more affirmational and realistic and authentic and true to life, rather than creating these fantasy worlds, unless it's, fun and Bill Murray and so on. But, I think, but I think that there's still so much work to do. Every few months, every year, there's some sort of crisis and a cancellation of some sort, and something's happening, someone misses the mark. And I think that there's a lot of important work, I think, to do. And I just couldn't name one community I would want to kind of tell a different story about, because there's just way too many, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. No, that's fair. There definitely is a lot. So we're going to move on to the third wing.
Dear.
It's so this one is Hot Ones Tropical Amarillo, which is 69,000 Scoville.
Yay!
Oh my God. If I could bite the wing normally, Jesus.
It's really stressful to eat in public, I gotta say.
We're all checking a lot off our list right now. All of our therapists would be really proud.
That wasn't bad.
It's got a little curry in it.
That's what it tastes like.
I
know this
appreciate the greenery on the side here, whatever this is.
Watercress or something.
Did you eat it?
No. No.
For I know, this one is definitely more tropical tasting, more fruity compared to the other sauces. All right.
It's delicious.
Yeah,
This one's not that high, I feel.
10 out of 10.
Going it. Yeah, he's gonna
Shout out to whoever made these wings, by the way.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's really good.
All right, so Amanda, you have this about like 2 or 3 years ago. My math might be wrong. I can't really count on it. I didn't go to school for that. So you came up with this creating space philosophy, where essentially if you are told we can't do this or we can't in general, your response is then create the space or make the space. How have you incorporated this thought process into your other philosophy that you have, in which leadership is behavioral, not positional?
Where'd you find that?
Journalist never reveals her sources.
That's really good. That's really good.
Good work.
It's a big topic, and I'll try to be concise. I'll start by saying I love the term in leadership, the sort of servant leadership. And I love it because it helps you uniquely identify your role in helping support individuals and your responsibility to lead them, inspire them, ensure that they're highly motivated and executing with excellence, and that you're a part of each one of those phases. I talk a lot about, the idea that everyone wants growth, but they don't realize how hard it is, and it's really, really painful. The creating space thing is, it's been my whole life. You mentioned earlier not taking no for an answer. I'm a Sagittarius, and I just do not like to be told no. So if there's an idea that scratches the surface or it is uncomfortable for somebody, the first person to say that is the first person I ask a lot of questions to. Why? I want to understand, why a certain message or a narrative or storytelling is uncomfortable. And I think if we don't, I referenced this before, if you do not have the right people at the table, you are either not creating space or you don't understand the value, and both of those are not acceptable. So creating space is just a term that I use to say, well, if it's not there, then create the space. So it's really not taking no for an answer.
Mm-hmm. Mark, so going back to when you worked on Capital One ads, obviously there was the iconic Sam L. Jackson asking the world what's in your wallet. But before then, they featured the duo we never knew we needed, Charles Barkley and Alec Baldwin. I'm just curious, how involved were they in the writing for the spots they were in?
Yeah, Alec was. I also got yelled at by Alec Baldwin. In addition to Lisa Bonet, so I could just. I have a panel coming up at 3 of me telling stories of getting yelled at by celebrities. If anyone wants to attend that. Charles, not at all. He was very easygoing, willing to look at scripts and do whatever was asked of him. Alec was. You would get a call, and he would call you the writer. He never knew your name, and you would do a call with him a week before you shot, and he would get on the phone and go through the scripts top to bottom and kill some stuff and be like, I'm not doing that. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do this instead? But I remember one time specifically, he was very angry that I think Charles was the lead in one of the spots or something, and he starts ranting, how he should be the guy. He's like, I don't give a shit about Charles. And I phone, I'm like, okay. And just sort of nodding along. And
oh my God.
Yeah. But, they got along great when we shot together. He had nothing against Charles Barkley. I think he was just, I want to take the center stage. But he was, Alex very smart, although he's got an edge. He's extremely smart and a great actor and very crafty, and he would really plus scripts a lot, and he would tell us very specifically what he was not short of words. He would tell us what he liked and didn't like, and it was we'd be on set with him, and we had him in a audience. Stadium seating, and he's like, give me a cup with a straw, as we're doing the scene. He takes, because he wanted to like sip, and just to watch him work and know what like he needed in this particular scene. And I think Charles loved it too. If Charles made it, Charles was notorious for staying out and drinking until 3 a.m. before the next day we'd shoot. But he always showed up on time and was fabulous. But most of the time, the celebrities, we've worked with celebrities that don't say anything. Show me the script and I'll do it. We have other ones we work with that really plus the work and add to it. So
were any of the celebrities you worked with like really into just improving their lines on set?
Tracy Morgan, which he was, we had to first call him on Zoom, and he wanted to get off the call. He goes, I want to show up and kind of, I'm good. And he was eating cheese doodles on the call, which was also amazing. And a lovely man, and couldn't have been nicer and easier to work with on set. He's just, I can't say enough good things about Tracy. But yeah. Tracy was one, and I worked with Conan O'Brien. He's just one of my heroes, and he was fantastic on set and helping us plus things up. His writer was there on set as well, and but yeah. And sometimes you work with we were at the end of a shoot once, and Momoa's the agents always want him to. They play the police, they want to get them off the set. And we were doing this. I don't know if you remember the Super Bowl spot, but he had no muscles, and he was lifting. He couldn't get the bar up, and he stayed like an extra 30 minutes to get that scene. He just loved it, and he kept doing it again. And like his agent was like, looking at us like this. We're like, he's loving it. We're not stopping him, and he stayed, for 30 minutes doing it. And so, yeah, it's a real treat if you get actors that are into it like that.
I feel like your response was one we didn't know we needed. Tristen, so some other photo video collections that Getty Images has come out with is such as like the Disability Collection, the Disrupt Aging Collection. They tend to categorize groups of people, and that's not me like poking fun at it. It's just like based on what I'm observing. So for brands that are looking to be genuinely authentic, what advice would you give them on how to find the balance between potentially pigeonholing audiences and simply respecting, acknowledging the growing number of identities?
Yeah. First of all, Mark has all the goss. So crazy. I did not know that this was what we were walking into. But when it comes to, pigeonholing and trying to avoid pigeonholing, I think one of the things that I have noticed, in the work of the last, 20 years. I loved advertising even before I entered the industry. And I think you said that 80% of it is shit. I would say probably even more, to be honest. Yeah. And I think a lot of it started to erode when, we started to outsource creativity to social media and following and chasing trends and virality. I think one of the great things about social is that it sort of opened the door and blasted the door open in terms of who was telling stories, how they were telling stories, kind of removed the gatekeepers for photographers and creators and influencers. And so it kind of totally transformed the landscape. But what it also did is it made brands incredibly lazy. Personally, I really find that to be incredibly frustrating just because we're thinking about outside of this, really cool work that we do at the Super Bowl, we're not thinking about the entire ecosystem of work that we're creating, really with care and intention, and even taking that risk. It's riskier to stay safe than to do some really bold, creative work. And so I think in terms of doing that bold creative work and is avoiding that pigeonholing and actually recognizing that these communities, the audiences that you're trying to reach are drastically different than even even the audiences that you were trying to reach 5 years ago. You could be super into gaming and also, I don't know, want to, read Vogue, and also want to, eat hot one, consume hot ones and watch the, like our tastes are so varied. We're not one identity. It's actually fragmented across a lot of different identities all at once. And that's just layering in terms of consumer interest and passion. That's not even talking about your demographic identities and cultural identities and things like that. And I think one of the things that brands are still kind of shying away from is that, like, all of those layers. It's scary. It's scary. It's a lot riskier to try and take a swing and then miss and get made fun of. But, making fun of makes you better. I think, someone, Mihala from industry talked about on Subway Take, she was like, bring back booing. Was her hot take. And I'm like, yes, bring back booing. Let's not bully, but like, let's bring back booing. Like, we need to start being comfortable with like calling people in and calling people out without it being these severe consequences, but so that you can get better, you get sharpened. All of my rejections, I mean, you talking about that earlier, Amanda, like all of my rejections actually just made me better. I came back, I was like, well, this is how I'm going to convince you now, because I want to get to that. Yes, I'm an Aries rising. So I'm just like, I want to get there. And so I think that, it's about recognizing the world that we're in at the moment and not avoiding it and sort of embracing that chaos, because we are in this chaotic moment.
Mm-hmm. I love that. So this is where we're going to start ramping things up. We are going with Da Bomb Beyond Insanity, which is 135,600 Scoville. So if you're a fan of the show, this is usually the first sauce that starts to throw the interviewees off their game.
This one just looks hot.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah.
That tastes hot. Whoa.
Holy God. I don't like that.
I took a big bite of that.
That's just hot.
Oh dear.
The flavor's gone and it's just fire.
It's just fire.
It's absolute. The seventh ring.
Oh my God.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
That one's good.
Are you
Ice
going to
cream?
be?
I'll be fine.
We're doing great. We're having a good time. We're having a good time.
Ice cream.
Ice cream.
I can't believe celebrities do this on camera. I would never agree to do
They
that.
don't do it in front of people though, like in that room.
But they know it's going to live forever. Ugh.
This is like you wake up in the middle of the night of a nightmare, and this is like you're eating wings in a room full of people that you respect in the industry, melting down.
Please, I'm professional. I know how to do things.
Whew. Oh my God.
It's my tongue is on fire.
It's going to be okay, Emma.
I know. I'm not trying to cry. It's just the tears are like, we're coming
It's
out.
going to be okay.
They set us up for the sucker punch.
Yeah, the other ones were light, right? They were like,
Yeah.
I think because we're not doing the 10, so we didn't get like the escalator. Jesus.
Yeah.
It definitely
Oh my God.
sits on the tongue. Yeah.
It's hot.
I'll ask a question. Give me a business day.
I think it's cooling down.
Anyway,
If anyone wants a bite of mine, Jack wants it. I'm saving this one for you, Jack.
okay. I totally just wasn't crying. Amanda, early in your career, you wrote an unsolicited. Do you need a moment? I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
Early in your career, you wrote an unsolicited letter to Charmin, pitching it. Why do you know that?
Journalism.
No comment. You were pitching a campaign idea. You even produced a DIY video with your friends. What other? Oh my God. What other unique ways have you pitched to clients or gotten to know them?
I think it's important to reflect that the submission she's asking about is what I submitted when I was in college in Canada. I was in a communications course, and we had this brilliant idea of how to launch Charmin toilet paper, for anyone that's wondering. And we shot this video, and I said, this is so great. I'm going to send them a letter for this video. I'm still waiting to hear back. So if you have a contact, let them know. I still have the asset. And the question that you asked after that was... Do you remember?
No, you're good.
I don't. Oh, how am I pitching ideas to clients now?
Or what other unique ways have you pitched to clients or gotten to know them?
Unique ways to pitch clients. I think there is only one way to pitch and pitch really well. They have to experience something. And I really believe that. I think we often try to articulate ourselves in words only, and that's like our most formal piece of communication. If you can bring them into the brand in a way that is, surprising to them, take them out of their, existing walls and kind of curate an experience, whether that's a short feeling, video asset, physical experience, it's the best way to articulate an idea and get people really inspired behind it. It might not be right. I mean, I've been, I was told once that I was good at taking punches. And I said, well, it's because I didn't even know they were coming. I didn't realize they didn't like that idea. But I think it's like you just have to take your position inside to understand their motivations. And I think it's really helping them experience and getting a little taste of it so that they can say, okay, I'm in, and this is how I'm going to make it better. And then you get a partner, and then you start to build from there. That's always been really exciting for me.
Sorry, I'm like, oh my God, now it's hitting my lips.
That was rough. It's a whole sinus.
I was putting on extra lip balm before this panel. I'm like, yeah, this will protect me.
I can't imagine the next one's going to be hotter than that.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. All right, Mark. I feel like you're going to hate me, but I feel like I have to mention this because I am an agency's reporter. It's bound to happen. In the last year, the agency landscape has changed quite a bit since Omnicom's acquisition of IPG. As a result, DDB, as we know it, no longer exists. So from your time at DDB Chicago, what is your most treasured memory?
Oh, man. It's kind of a sweet question.
As
It's brought him to tears.
No, yeah, I'm crying. God, there were so many. It was, I say that for 21 years because it had such great leadership, and it was a very warm place to work. And, it was led by Bob Scarpelli and a couple of people that really cared about their employees. I think things changed over the years, but, and of course, it was all inspired by Bill Birnbach, who is still a legend. I always say that, sorry, that's the spice, not me crying, that,
yes.
His words today are just as relevant as they were when he wrote them. I don't know how many years ago, but each time I got promoted was always a wonderful moment for me. Winning our first Super Bowl, an ad meter, was really a cherished memory, and yeah, I think I watched him move from one building to the other and redecorate the whole place numerous times, and yeah, just watched the place grow and leadership change, and it was great. And I had a great client, Anheuser-Busch. They loved doing Super Bowl. We just did a ton of content between radio and TV, and so yeah, it was sad. I know I wrote that. I know saw the piece on LinkedIn, is why you asked, but I wrote yes, a nice note about DDB, and it's sad to see the name go. They're just a legendary agency and have done so much good work over the years, out of London and New York and Chicago, and so yeah, it was sad for all of us to see the name go.
Sorry, I'm still like, oh my God. Tristen, when you were a guest on the podcast Diversity Be Like,
Oh, God.
with Sequoia Houston, you mentioned that during your college years, you wish you focused more on production. So my question to you is, how have you tried to incorporate the dream that once was into your work?
How are you finding these? Oh my God, it's crazy. That was like 8 years ago. Crazy. How am I incorporating that? Well, 2 years ago, my lips really burn. like from here up. what was the question? Production. 2 years ago, our creative department totally reorged. So for those who don't know, Getty Images has two kind of big sides of our business. We have our editorial side of our business, which is incredibly visible. Anything news, sport, entertainment, red carpets, all of that is what you see with the watermark. The other side of our business, which is actually our larger side of our business, is actually providing commercially ready, fully released imagery for brands to use in their advertising and so on. And a lot of people are often surprised that the library itself doesn't just magically appear. There's a whole team of folks that are working on it. And 2 years ago, I got the privilege of, during the reorg, of being able to take over the teams that are actually producing the content alongside of the team that I had been running, which is the insights team, which is the research team, the folks who are doing bringing all the ideas together to actually create the content and work with brands. We brought those two teams together, and it was really exciting. And I have been able to now not mind my business and go to every single shoot that I can and learn so much about the work of production and, the work that our teams put into working with our creators directly. I mean, these photographers are incredible, and they're very, very talented, and they're shooting this stuff on spec. Like, they're not, so I think that how do we make that work for them? They have to be really creative and scrappy with building these shoots, with very limited resources. And so it's been really exciting to be able to embrace that, to help with shot lists, to help with casting, to help with the styling, to help with, propping things out. I tell my team when they're on set, they can put me to work. I'll be the intern. It's fine. So it's been really exciting to have the privilege to do that for the last couple of years.
Are you guys ready for the last wing?
No.
Okay.
Are you?
Sure.
Are we doing the dab?
In the show, it is tradition to do an extra dab of this last sauce on the wing. You guys don't have to if you don't want to. I'm going to.
We should.
Pass me the sauce.
Amanda's like,
That one. So this one is the last Hot Ones, the last dab Thermageddon.
Oh dear.
It is over 2.7 million Scoville. This is the king of capsaicin.
Everything's fine.
So just do a little dab.
I lost. I completely
That was too
didn't
much.
know what she was saying. It just, in my head, it read as like hot, heat, fire, danger.
If you want to do the dab, you don't have to.
How much?
I put too much.
So you put it on the bite that you're gonna take?
Yeah.
Just
Just do a little bit.
little bit.
I did a lot of it.
Okay, I'm gonna put it on the side and then do a dab.
I'm gonna do the side as
I'll
well.
use my tiny pepper to brush some off. These peppers are so cute, by the way. I love it.
Yeah, just in case you wanted to go over the top, you have this to eat.
In case you want to see me sobbing profusely, I will not be eating the pepper. But yeah, so cheers, guys.
Dab this?
I did a dab.
I did.
Yeah.
And dab.
Did a little dab.
I did.
All right. Where is? Here we go.
Okay.
That's an activation. It's a whole.
I'm waiting for the.
I feel warm,
Yeah.
like dewy. It's crazy.
It's kind of delayed.
Yeah, it's a slow burner.
I don't think it's as bad as the bomb.
I actually
bomb
thought this
really-
one was worse.
Yeah, well, this one builds. That's-
Builds.
From what I remember,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
It definitely builds.
The flavor's nice, right? Like
What?
It is. I'm sorry. It tastes like smoke.
smoke.
To me, it tastes like just smoke. Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm like tempted to take another bite because it hasn't built up for me yet.
I think you should.
No, Jack, don't do that. Don't.
This one was good.
Is anyone brave enough to do it?
Huh? Oh, he went for
That
it.
was a different one.
Oh, that a different one? He went for the less spicy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So Amanda, you're gonna love this question. So when you were in high school, you were the member of the high school's first all-girls wrestling team.
Let's go.
You also competed against boys wrestling teams. So, if you remember, tell us a moment where you were humbled or you were the humbler.
I'm so grateful you asked this question. I've been waiting the day to tell everybody about my wrestling. What a special moment. So I grew up in Canada. I've been here for 10 years. And I went to an arts high school, to just give some context to it. And it was not a sports school at all. We actually were terrible in sports. But for some reason, field hockey and wrestling, we were really good at. And I wanted to be on the wrestling team. I grew up with a brother and a sister. My sister, had like a six-pack at birth. My brother was like a soccer star. And, you just wrestle at home. And I was like, I want to get on the wrestling team. And like I said earlier, I don't want to take no for an answer.
Yeah.
So they said, all right, you're going to have to wrestle guys for a little bit until we get this up and going. You're going to have to commit to helping to build this out, and you'll get community service. So I think what I learned of the experience is, like, sometimes when you push a little bit, you uncover people that also wanted to do that, and you sort of get more allies into your thinking or your pitch, going back to the pitch idea. And wrestling's a really great sport. I mean, you learn so much about discipline as a young woman, and we've got a lot of women in the audience, and I'm a mother now to a 4.5-year-old. It was phenomenal, and I'll tell you, there's nothing better than beating a guy in wrestling. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't like it. Thank you for bringing. Wow, what a memory! What a memory.
Mark, let's see. How do worldwide famous chefs Bobby Flay, Rachel Ray, and Thomas Keller feel now that your food blog, thebreadandbuddha.com, is no longer accessible?
That was that was started by my wife, really, but she was like a health and wellness coach, and I helped her get this website off the ground, thebreadandbuddha.com. She wound up doing grab-and-go healthy smoothies, salads, and assorted. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm a foodie myself. Would have been good. I used to do all the photography, like, on our dining room table, and shoot all the food and cook everything. And so I loved it while it lasted. But, yeah, I don't know if my heroes, Thomas Keller, would have seen it. A funny story about Thomas Keller. Not a gossip story, but my dad, who was also grew up kind of food, he was like, if you go to, we were in Napa, he's like, you got to go to French Laundry. It's the best, And so we didn't have a reservation. We're staying in Yountville. We go into the restaurant. No one's in there. We open the door. There's menus around. We walk to the back in the coach house, and Thomas Keller came out of his little thing holding a couple lemons, and we asked, could we get in a reservation? He was able to get us one the next night. It's kind of a boring story, but I was like, sure. And then the next night we had to drive to Sonoma. We woke up the next day. We're like, do we really want to drive over the mountain to go to? And we didn't. And I wound up never going to French Laundry. But I know it was terrible. But it was good meeting him and Repair. They are probably my two heroes.
Okay. Tristen, so you mentioned this earlier in the panel, but you're a fan of the show Industry. It's an HBO show where it follows young graduates who join an investment bank in London. I also got this from the podcast episode.
Oh, dear.
She's good.
You called it so competitive that it's scary. Have there been any reality TV shows since then that have elicited a similar reaction from you?
Ooh. Oh, gosh. Scary? Love is Blind?
Oh.
People love that show.
The nightmares? The stuff of nightmares, of dating? Yeah. That feels like scary. Also, I'm not alive right now. I don't know what you're speaking. I would like the ground to swallow me up.
Why these are easier questions.
Yeah, but Love is Blind is pretty scary. Any of the love romantic dating shows and the sort of conversations that are being had amongst people whose prefrontal cortex is not developed, I'm like, what? No, stop. It seems very scary out there for heterosexuals. I'm sorry.
Well, on that note, you may crown us the Capsaicin Crusaders because we just powered through that bracket. A huge thank you to the panelists for taking on the spice bracket with me. I had a lot of fun, even though I can't feel my lips right now. Thank you so much to First We Feast, the YouTube account behind Hot Ones, who so lovingly allowed us to do a Hot Ones recreation on the stage for you. And I don't know, is anyone from First We Feast here? Anyone? No, they're not here. Okay. And I also wanted to give a shout out to Luz, to thank her, because without her stubborn will and her intention of getting this idea off the ground, this panel would have never happened. And I'm so glad it did. And I also wanted to give a thank you to the events team for helping set this up, for getting the sauces, for just even this quick setup, and the Convene staff too. Thank you guys. This was amazing. And yeah, thank you guys for watching.
Yes!